We have to welcome in Adam Schefter on the Coco Shack hotline. We appreciate you, Adam, taking some time out of your day to come on Quince in the morning.
How are you, Vince?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing today, Adam?
Good. What's going on?
Not much. It's Vince Ruffino and Quinn Rochford. We thank you so much once again for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to us. Obviously, you have a very busy schedule.
Sure, no problem. I'm happy to do it. Let's get right to it.
We'll jump right into it here. As obviously you're from Valley Stream, New York. Were you affected by Hurricane Sandy at all in any way, capacity there, family?
Yeah, our house got hit. Tree down the side of the house. We have to replace the side of the house. Trees down the neighborhood. We still don't have power. Look, I mean, it's been a rough deal, but it's been a lot more difficult for a lot of other people than me and my family. So, I'm not thrilled with it, but again, there are a lot of people who are in a lot worse shape, who lost their homes, who lost everything, and they don't have power, they don't have heat, they don't have a lot of things. And again, it's a difficult thing, but a lot of people here are inconvenienced, and really some people have their lives wrecked. So we'll see.
Hey, Adam, Quinn Rochford here at St. John's. Again, we really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, coming from Valley Stream, you're a Long Island kid. We're students at St. John's. We're interested to see if St. John's played any role in your upbringing. Maybe you came to a couple basketball games. Maybe some family members came here. What did St. John's play any role in your upbringing?
Well, the only St. John's basketball game that I went to was at Nassau Coliseum when they played Oregon State back when Oregon State was ranked, and I obviously grew up watching Chris Mullin and Walter Berry and some of the great St. John's players of yesteryear. And I always enjoyed watching them. And Louis Carnesecco is something of a sporting icon, of course, in the city. And having grown up in Long Island, you can't not follow and watch St. John's basketball. But basically what I described to you was the extent of it. I followed him. I rooted for him. I like to see him do well. But I don't know that it had any great influence on me.
All right, so we'll move away, kind of from the New York stuff. We'll get more into now your specialty, which is obviously the NFL. And I think one of the burning questions that I've always wondered, and I think a lot of people wonder, is in your role and in your job, how many texts, emails, and calls do you go through in a day to get the information that you receive on a daily basis?
Well, it's just doing your job the right way, and basically, oh wow, I just got a text message about something just now, and. Well, that's kind of interesting. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
It won't be the last one during this interview, probably.
Yeah, no, it just came. Listen, you just keep up with it the entire time, and you do what you have to, and it is the job. That's what we do. I feel fortunate to do the job I do. I love it. I'm very thankful to have it, and I really enjoy it. But again, I don't know how to describe it. It's just what I do.
Adam, obviously, you work alongside Chris Mortensen, a guy who's been with ESPN for a long time. Your job descriptions are very similar. You're both insiders of the NFL. Do you almost even look up to him because he's been there for so long? Do you compare yourself to Chris? What's your relationship with him?
We have a great relationship. I think it's like going in and working with an older brother and somebody that you could bounce things off of, and I think he feels the same way. We, on Sunday mornings before the pregame show, we compare and contrast ideas with one another. What are you saying? What are you saying? You want to think about this, Adam? I know this. Oh, okay, that's good. And it's just great to have a sounding board like that. I mean, he's become a friend of mine, and he's an icon and a legend in the business. And the first time that we went to dinner after I joined ESPN, I remember it was like, wow, I went through with more. This is great. But now it's to the point where we have a great working relationship. He's been very welcoming, very gracious, very classy, very everything, and I've really enjoyed working with him a tremendous amount.
Okay, Adam, thank you very much for taking your time out of your day. We have one more question before we get to your bread and butter, which is NFL news and notes, and it's more of a fun topic, something to lighten the mood before we get serious again. With John Clayton's success as far as the This Is SportsCenter commercial, is there anything in the works for you that you could tell us about that would, have something along those lines?
You know what? Moore and I have done a few commercials together, and the one that we did with Dwight Freeney when we were basically going through his house looking for every last morsel of information, that was a lot of fun. And this year they come up with different commercials every year, and this year John Clayton undoubtedly got the winning commercial. That was an all-time ESPN Sports Center commercial with John Clayton, and if anybody hasn't seen it, they should go onto YouTube and click John Clayton commercial.
It's one of our favorites. So now we'll get to the NFL news and notes, which is obviously what you do at ESPN and what you're so well known for. We'll start with the Giants. Is there any concern with Eli Manning and the slump that the Giants and the team seem to be having? Is there any concern within the organization or amongst the coaching staff about that?
Well, if you're going to be concerned about Eli Manning, then I mean, if that's your biggest concern, then your season's in good shape, because he's going to be there in the end. He's going to rally, and he's going to have a real good season. And his numbers have been off lately, but I think that's an aberration more than anything, and I guarantee he gets back to playing winning football. That's what he does.
Adam, obviously there's some turmoil going down in Philadelphia. Obviously they lost a tough game down in New Orleans against the Saints. What's your perspective of what's going on down there with Andy Reid and Mike Vick? How long do you think they'll stick around? Do you think the Eagles are going to stick with Andy Reid throughout the whole season?
I would imagine that he'll be there at least till the end of the season. Again, you have to see how the second half of the season plays out. I mean, people are already writing them off and dismissing them. And I know they haven't played well, and they've lost, 4 straight games. And it doesn't look good right now, but they're still a pretty capable team. If they can stop turning over the football, they still have talent, and it all depends on how they get things done in the second half of the season. If they can play better football, they give themselves a chance. And I mean, it's hard to pinpoint a date when they would change coaches, moving away from the longest tenured coach in the NFL. I'd like to see it happen before it actually does. And keep in mind that I think that if an Andy Reid is on the street, it wouldn't be very long before another team scooped him right up.
And if I were to ask you the same questions about the Dallas Cowboys, what would your answer be?
Similar. I mean, again, those two teams play Sunday. They're both 3-5. They're both trying to stay at the last place in the NFC East, and their seasons are not dead yet. Just because you go 3-5 in the first half doesn't mean you're eliminated for the second half. And it's a situation where, again, Minnesota got out to a great start. Arizona got out to a great start. Things turn in this league quick.
Yeah.
So I'm always hesitant to anoint head coaches in a hot seat, or I really don't like doing that until the season plays itself out.
Well, moving from dire situations or bad ones, how about what's unfolding right now in Indianapolis with Chuck Pagano, and they're turning their season around with Andrew Luck. What's the latest on Chuck Pagano? Is he going to be back at all in any capacity this year? Or is he still undergoing chemotherapy? Where is he at right now?
He's going through a really intensive bout of radiation chemotherapy this week, and it's going to take a lot out of him, and I'm told it'll be the most difficult and trying week that he's had yet. But he seems to be doing very well, and the team is hopeful and believes that he'll be able to rejoin it the last week of the regular season. So that would be great if he can get back by then. Everybody's pulling for him, and one of the texts I just got before we came on the air is that Andrew Luck, as it turns out, also shaved his head. So now everyone in Indianapolis is shaving their head, and Andrew Luck appears to be the latest to have done it.
And how about Peyton Manning out in Denver? Obviously, they struggled early on. They lost that tough Monday night game on your network against the Atlanta Falcons. But it seems like they're turning things around. They seem like they feel more comfortable with Peyton under the center. Do you think that they really are turning into one of the best teams in the AFC?
I think the record speaks for itself. I think the quarterback himself is so important in this league. And when Peyton Manning's playing at that level that he's playing at right now, yeah, they're going to be contenders here for the remainder of the season. I think they'll be one of the best teams in the AFC. And I think Peyton will get better and better. And as long as that's the case, then Denver will be right there in the end.
Okay, Adam, just one or two more questions before we let you go. Obviously, you're a busy guy, and move away from football for these last couple of questions. You live and breathe football for the majority of your days now, and for the majority of the year. So what is it that you do that you can get away from football? To kind of take some time out and recharge the batteries. What's some things that you do?
Well, I appreciate you asking that. I really don't think you ever break away from it. I think you just kind of live it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the job. It comes along with the territory. Just when you think you're going to enjoy some quiet time, it doesn't happen that way. So, like I said, that's part of the job. And again, I'm married and I have children. So between working and family, I really don't have any time at all to do anything that you guys have time to do. I'll tell you that. In college, you got a lot more free time than I do. It just is, not something that I get a lot of free time. Right now, obviously, with the storm, waiting for another storm, been through the other storm, no power. it's not exactly the glamorous life that people think.
Sure. Adam, before we let you go, and again, we really appreciate you coming on. Just give us, if we were to ask you to give a bit of advice to somebody who's coming up in the industry, not only just trying to become an insider in the NFL, but somebody who's trying to become a journalist, somebody who's just really interested in the sporting world, what would you say to them?
Well, a few things. Number one, read and write every day. Make sure you read and write every day. I used to write to my favorite writers and reporters. They always told me read 30 minutes a day minimum. Read books, magazines, newspapers, online, whatever it may be. Number two, while you're in college, while you're in high school, you've got a tremendous opportunity to go do internships, volunteer at TV stations, local TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, whatever field it is that you want to go work in. Get yourself surrounded by people who have done that job well. Learn from them. Give yourself a chance to see what that business is like. I always thought I wanted to be a newspaper sports columnist. I wound up doing football and television. So it wound up being similar fields, but I tried other things. I found that I liked other things. I found out that I was okay at certain things and didn't fare quite as well at other things. So if you're trying different things during your summers or while you're going to school, you give yourself a better opportunity. Be patient, work hard, treat people fair, and inevitably in the end, things will work out.
That's more than kind words. Last question for you, Adam, and this is a personal question of mine. You went to the University of Michigan. That's always been my dream, was to go there. Did you see a game in the Big House? What's it like? What's it like at Michigan University, and what can you say about that?
Oh, it was a tremendous experience to go to school there. It was exactly what you would expect it to be. It just was the epitome of what a college experience should be like. And yes, going to that stadium for a football game was an event, and the school put out a football book called Michigan Football. It's a history of, and the articles in the Michigan Daily, the student newspaper that I wrote for, and they had me write the forward to the book, and I describe what it's like to go to a game there. It becomes like, they call it the Big House, but it becomes like your second house while you're in college, and you bond with people, and you get along with people, and you hang out there. It was a great experience. If anybody's ever considering Michigan and they had the chance to go, I would heartily endorse it.
All right, Adam, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and hope you can continue the good work, and maybe we can catch up with you at some later date.
It's Quinn. I appreciate having me. Thanks very much, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much. That was Adam Schefter, everyone, with ESPN